Okay, I am filming this video of my latest junk journal. Sorry for the pitter patter upstairs. My housemate's dog is playing. So anyway, this junk journal is for Amanda and it is long overdue. I had some personal issues to address in the last few weeks, so it's really put me behind schedule on a lot of different things. So, but anyway, things are settling down and I'm feeling much better and more creative. So here it is. This is called what is it called? The Homeward Trail. So I'm kind of doing this blind. I have a new tripod-y kind of thing and I'm not exactly sure how well it's going to work, but we'll give it a shot. So, this is sari ribbon to close it. And here we go. Whoops. This is the inside. I have to add a little glue to that washi tape. God, I just can't stand washi tape. I don't know why I even use it. It never sticks. So this is a library card, which I have added fabric to and a couple little ephemera things for a little mini collage. Enclosed is a vintage postcard for California. It's from 1918. Then I got these beautiful little silver embossed cards from a friend of mine who sells vintage locally. I thought they were really pretty. And then a tea stained, actually it's pink stained tag I made. Then I have this book plate. And here's a vintage card of La Belle Helene. I thought that was really sweet. It's from probably the early 1900s because you can tell she's wearing a corset. Extra journaling spots. Here's a vintage greeting card. And I've attached a fussy cut rose because it kind of ties in with the roses on the card. Then here's my little uneven book pages. I like to do this uneven thing, create some visual interest there. So, and then try to add a little point of interest on each page. I've also included more blank pages in this one for journaling. So a tea card it's a beautiful bird. These are from a woman I found online on Instagram. I'm sorry, I think her name is Uline. She's from Germany. She and I did a swap. Little fabric and ribbon and illustration. Birds, more birds. Did a little thing here. I found this dancing girl and I thought Miss Mary would be free. I'm feeling a little need for freedom myself these days. So there's also birds on this washi tape, which appears to be sticking pretty well, amazingly. And a pocket full of vintage illustrations from children's books. I'm not going to take all these out, but Amanda collects children's books, so because of the illustrations. I haven't done anything on this page because I didn't want to ruin the illustration. Amanda could always add something from her own collection there. This was in a series of books from the 1930s and 40s called the Book House, or I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll try and remember that later. But in the book, these two characters were facing each other, so I've just reproduced that in this junk journal. And then vintage wrap, which is lightly attached. So these could be removed and moved to other parts of the book or used in other projects, and then you would have a blank page underneath for journaling. More blank paper for journaling. Little cowboy lassoing his chips. These are, I have a collection of these kind of stamps, and I wanted to pick up the blue of him in the stamps, so that's what I did. I have a collection of these World of Nature cards that Coca-Cola put out in, I don't know, the 50s and 60s, I think. And then I've turned it into a journaling card. Recipe card, canning labels, and an illustration from a cookbook. And then all kinds of ephemera with handwriting on it, and you know, all this stuff can be removed and again added to other projects or put in a different part of the book, or most of the stuff I've kind of left unattached so that it can be rearranged. Another tag with A for Amanda. Here I've used some vintage, some text and bit of fabric from the 30s, I believe. And then I've taken this illustration and wrapped it around the bottom of the page. And just another little interesting collection of ephemera. This is from the 40s. Little collection of Jewish boys. It was from a photo album I bought that was Jewish. And here's one of my orphan earring charm tags. Little teeny paper clips I picked up at Seattle Recreative here in town. Yeah, another tag. There's a doily I tea stained, another A. This is a real photographic postcard, RPPC, also from late 1800s, early 1900s. You can see how tiny her waist is. She's wearing a corset, which must have been massively uncomfortable. I read somewhere that they even wore them when they were pregnant, which is mind-boggling. Swaziland. I put this postage stamp on this side, and then exactly in the same location on the other, so that there's no distracting bleed through from the other side. A little teeny greeting card, unused, which I thought was really sweet. The little lamp. There's another like tuck spot there. I love this photograph of this little boy. He was just so joyful or so surprised or something. So I made this little teeny blessed with laughter photo slide. And then this is some of the book tape and end paper from a deconstructed book. Playing card that I've also turned into another journaling card. A little clipped thing of bits and pieces of maps. And then all the small photos that I have in my photo collection that I know will never really sell, I just always punch them out and make these circles and include these circles in my junk journals. And I sell them in my shop too, although I need to replenish that. This is all foreign text. Two flashcards. And all kinds of like German and Japanese and Russian and Greek, all kind of an assortment there. A really beautiful ribbon with flowers on it and a bird. I did something similar to this in another journal, and Amanda saw it and thought that was a really cool detail and asked me to see if I could reproduce it. So here it is. I've left this blank because that could be a great spot to journal in. More blank space for journaling. Another journal card. Create a little teeny collage here with some fabric and vintage gift wrap. And I really like the way that notary seal kind of bleeds through from the other side. The reverse is kind of cool. So I didn't want to cover that up. Excuse me. This was from a sample pack of Indian handmade paper. And I've turned it into another flip-up journal thing and used some, this is from a gift bag from Anthropology. I love the pattern, so I turned it into a couple of hinges. And here's the notary stamp on the actual side. It's from 1912, which is cool. So another little illustration of a little girl sewing. You can't imagine my daughter doing that when she was that age. This was a clothing tag from a pair of, a shirt I think I got, and I loved it. A new day, because every day is a new day. And I put some wrapping paper and some lined paper on there. So, yeah, there's that. This is end paper from a book Mama's Purse. It was a Norwegian story, I believe, but I loved this, all the graphics on this. I have quite a bit more of this left over. You'll probably see it in some upcoming work. This was leftover paper, so I just turned it into a little teeny pad. And then assorted flower things. This is from Frederick and Nelson's, which is no longer a company locally. It used to be like, it became Macy's. Now Macy's is closing their store downtown Seattle, so it'll probably just become offices now. But another orphan earring tag, although this may have been like a keychain or something. I don't know. Anyway, I got this at Seattle Recreative also. Oh, this is from a book of examples of ceramic tiles. And I tea stained the paper, all the huge pages, and then I've been slowly cutting them apart. So do some journaling on that as well. A little milk cap and green paper. This is also distressed a bit. Journaling, blank. I didn't do anything with this. I left these blank because I thought she might want to rearrange things or add to it. So here's some more examples of the tile from the tile catalog. And I did the same thing as with the two characters earlier and kind of juxtapositioned them facing each other. This is a little detail from that same catalog that I just snipped out and put as a little detail on the blank spot for journaling. Here's a little washi taped in envelope full of tiny illustrations that I either fussy cut or just cut out. I love these stencils. So I had 2 sets and I picked out the A's. So this little teeny detail here is from end papers, which are also here. So I have a longer strip and I took a small detail of it just to tie the two together. And then the graphic images behind this A are part of the tile catalog. So it all kind of fits together. And then I did the same thing over here. This was a longer illustration, which just stuck out too far. So I chopped off the top half and I distressed it and added it to this little page here. So you can see that they tie together. This is from a book of French children's rhymes and stories. And then I've also here included 2 postage stamps on this side and one on the other side for Australia, because Australia is having a really tough time. And I don't really imagine they're getting a whole lot of sleep these days, and I feel so bad for all of them. So, yeah. This is paper from one of those pianos, the rolls of piano paper that come with all the holes. So it's actually just clipped on there. It could be removed and moved around. And there's a little teeny bit of a collage there. Tiny little boy at the beach with his boat in the distance. Kind of cool. And then finally, I just did this. I picked up these hankies this last weekend for really cheap, and I love these pansies. So I made this little collage at the back. It's their end paper dictionary page, which I dyed with green food coloring and a little bit of tea. I did those a while ago. This is from an autograph book from 1902, and then a little button with the thread still on it, kind of a nice little detail. And then I have a whole box full of these small photographs, and I try and use one in every journal that I make. And this is kind of something I always do on the very last page of my signature that I make. I do a little collage with one of these photographs in it. And then the second signature is blank. It's just all of these either tea stained papers or vintage papers. So I like to take all these different kinds of books that I deconstruct and just keep some of the pages from each book and use them in this way. This is really cool. I love the graphics on the page there. And then this was just ledger paper that I tea stained. It's contemporary, but it looks aged. And then this was a pattern sewing book. And so I try to include, something different, something variety. This is from a catalog of furniture designs, which is lovely illustrations. children's book. Lots of spots for adding stuff to and journaling. The concept being that some of the stuff from the first signature could be moved to this signature, or Amanda could add her own stuff from her own collection. And this is from, she loved this book that I had used this in another junk journal which she'd seen, and she was like, what story is that? It's called The Little House. And it's the sweetest little book about this little house that lives in the country, and then the city moves out and builds up all around her, and she goes dark, and then they move her back out to the country again. So here's some more of that furniture design. I think it was like a catalog where you could order furniture and, you know, pick your own fabric and stuff. But sheet music and lots of blank spots for continued writing and added stuff. So there we go. And then I used ledger paper for the end papers in here, 29 and 28 at the beginning of the book. And then I just put my own little label in there so you know how to find me if you need to. And that is it. All done.